Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. Now tomorrow we have Kenobi, so I should have some fun content releasing about that. Today, however, we have a rambling video all about the Halo community and some of my fellow Halo content creators. I'm making this video to call out Hidden Xperia. He's just awful. No, I'm joking. I love Luke and I pretty much like everyone on Halo YouTube. I've definitely tried to do as much cross promotion as possible, help Halo channels when they're starting up. I mean, we even had that really fun Halo content creator tournament a few months back, and that's why I decided to talk about this for today's video. And again, this is just rambling. I'm gonna put some Halo gameplay on. Feel free to do this while you're doing a chore or watching or playing a game, whatever. Before we get into what is ultimately pointless internet debates over a video game, stuff that doesn't matter in the real world, I do just want to take a second to mention that a member of the Halo community known as ISO, you guys may know him, especially if you're a part of the leaks and data mining community, has been struggling with stage 3 cancer. It's recently returned and he's raising some money to just help with everything that happens when you have cancer. So I'm going to link to that down in the description. Anyway, let's get back to it. Halo's at a rough spot. I don't think even the most ardent Halo defenders or Halo fans, of which I am one by the way, would disagree with that. The TV show wasn't very good. That's a subjective thing, that's my opinion, but I think objectively it's not the total fan response we would have wanted from a Halo show. Even people that like the show can probably recognize that it's very divisive and not overall a community pleaser. Alongside that, Halo Infinite is not having the first year that any of us hoped it would. Updates have been really unimpressive, the game launched in a poor state, and I think most worryingly, there's just not a lot of interest in Halo Infinite. I'm not going to go into the Steam chart numbers, I've done that before. I'm not going to look at specifics. I'll link to a video up above where I broke all that down, but needless to say, the interest in Halo Infinite is not where it should be, given that we're year 1 and season 2 of what is one of Microsoft's biggest games ever, and the biggest and first free-to-play Halo experience that's ever been launched. And I think it's the state of the community which has people so on edge all the time, and this all came to a head recently. There's a game called Splitgate, a game that I'm actually a really big fan of. I played Splitgate when it first launched. It wasn't very popular back then. It seemed like it was going to shut down. Somehow it's now had a fairly big resurgence, and it's now at the point where it's sponsoring YouTubers to talk about their game, which is fair enough. And for full transparency, they actually reached out to me and asked if I want to do a sponsored video. To be honest, it didn't fit my channel well. I didn't think that it was worth doing, and it's just not the kind of content that I do. I don't really do fully sponsored videos either usually, so I declined. However, if it fit my channel properly and I thought I could make an interesting video about the topic, I would have done so. And for, I think, good reason, a lot of Halo YouTubers took them up on their offer. Now, I've only watched a couple of these videos. Hidden Xperia's was really good. It covered the idea of the Halo killer like we saw in the past and how Splitgate doesn't really try to do that. I watched Kevin Kulex's video, which was more just a coverage of the general game and its season 2, and they were both really good. And the little bits I watched of other videos too made comparisons to Halo, but there weren't many that were outright negative towards the game. Still, there was a lot of backlash about this, and this is where I started to get a little bit frustrated because it feels like a culmination of things dumb fans have been saying for a long time. There's a Twitter account which I'm not going to name because I don't want any harassment being sent their way, but which sort of hides behind the idea that it's somewhat of a meme account to essentially harass content creators or at least post disparaging things about them. They do this all the time. In their posts often go to other kind of nasty places like Shit Halo Says on Reddit, where people take the opportunity to dump on Halo content creators, whether they're talking about their videos, saying their content is bad. I frequently see them talking about the looks or the voice of certain content creators. Anyway, this post was essentially denigrating Halo content creators for taking Splitgate sponsorships. And I found this really frustrating because people don't understand right now what it's like to be a Halo content creator. I am very lucky. I don't rely on Halo whatsoever. It's something I do on top of the Star Wars stuff, but if I was just relying on Halo, I would be in trouble right now. Halo has never been less popular in terms of YouTube activity than it is right now. It surged in popularity for about a week after Halo Infinite, but right now fan interest is at an all-time low. I've talked to the other big Halo content creators in the community, yes, all the ones you're thinking of, if you go look at their channels, you'll basically see the same thing. It's tough to be a Halo content creator right now. There's probably only, I'm not including myself in this, 2 or 3, maybe a few more content creators which dedicate their craft to Halo. And a lot of the ones who got these sponsorships are definitely not full-time content creators, and they were probably thinking they might be when Halo Infinite came out, but it makes sense that they would take a guaranteed paid video from Splitgate, especially where no one has violated any sort of the ethical rules around taking sponsored videos. Like, the callouts that they posted were the fact that they had the disclosure in the description, and I mean, that's a good thing. That's what you're supposed to do. That's how you make sure people aren't being misled by content that was somewhat paid for. If anything, I do somewhat blame Splitgate for the way they organize this. It's always a bit of a bad look when you have a bunch of content creators releasing the same type of content on the same day, especially where it seems like Splitgate targeted Halo content creators. That makes sense because they're trying to convert some of that audience to also playing their game, but it also kind of makes it look like Halo content creators are jumping ship or selling out Halo when that's really not the case. And again, the videos that I saw weren't overly negative whatsoever. And this takes me to my other point, because I've seen some of the dumbest, most chronically online takes about the situation from people that I don't think have spent any time off of Twitter and YouTube and Reddit and in the real world. People are acting like content creators have caused Halo Infinite to fail because of their negativity. I've seen plenty of people saying that Halo content creators are at fault for talking poorly about Halo Infinite and then being upset when Halo interest is the lowest it's ever been. Halo interest is the lowest it's ever been because the game is not very good. It has good gameplay, it's got good fundamentals, but there's no content. It launched with nothing. It hasn't got what live service games usually do, i.e. frequent updates. So it's got all the drawbacks of a live service game, and that is there's lots locked behind a paywall, and the game didn't launch with very much content, but none of the benefits of a live service game, which would be frequent updates. This game launched without Forge, it launched without co-op, it launched with broken custom games and broken theater mode. It launched with only 4 really workable arena maps, and it's gotten almost no content in the first 6 months. Less content than every other Halo game other than Halo CE, at least in terms of maps. I would argue in terms of gameplay as well. It's like, of course the game is dying. Halo content creators are not that influential, and that's just a fact. There isn't a pure Halo content creator that has over 1 million subscribers. We're not even Star Wars level here. Halo is a very underdeveloped niche on YouTube, and I saw that when I started making Halo shorts, for example. I was the only one doing lore shorts anyway. Halo influencers do not have as much influence as people like to attribute to them. Like, I know a lot of people in real life that play Halo. When Halo Infinite released, there were basically 12 of us or more getting on every single night, and right now, none of us, including me, log on to Halo Infinite on the regular. And I'll tell you, other than me, none of my friends could name a single Halo YouTuber. Now, of course, you can argue that that's just my experience, but I do think that's pretty much representative of the overall experience. And even if it weren't, even if there was a massive, Halo content creator out there, nobody wants this game to fail. None of us who are doing Halo for money, let's say, or no one who is doing Halo full-time wants the game not to be popular. Do you think Hidden Xperia or Kevin Coolx want the game that they cover for a living to have no interest in it? It makes no goddamn sense. People are reviewing Halo Infinite how it deserves to be reviewed. It's a fucking disaster. And you can tell this because when the game launched, pretty much all of us were super positive. Of course, there are some that are going to be naturally prejudiced against 343, but that's definitely the minority. And I think most of us were willing to give Halo Infinite a shot because it looked like 343 had addressed issues, and truthfully they did, that were present in other Halo games. They moved back to the tight arena shooter model, they moved away from the non-classic art style, and most Halo YouTubers were very positive about the game on release. It's just we're reacting naturally to the shitstorm that we've been dealing with for this past year and the fact that 343 has likely squandered their best chance at a successful Halo game. So yeah, they should be taking Splitgate sponsorships. If I were a Halo content creator making Halo gameplay content on my YouTube channel, I would have for sure Splitgate is a fun game, just like Halo was a fun game. And honestly, I don't blame anyone for doing whatever's ethical and legal to pay the bills. And listen, I understand being frustrated with negative Halo content creators, especially if you're someone who is happy with the game. Totally understand that. And if that's the case and you want to unsubscribe to your favorite Halo YouTuber, if you don't like the negative Halo videos that I occasionally put out, totally understandable. That's your prerogative, and there's nothing wrong with that. But these people who are blaming Halo Infinite content creators for killing the game, or who take it personally, or who want to harass content creators, you're chronically online. You need to step away from your screen, you need to talk to a real person, and you need to grow up, because this whole conversation is just beyond ridiculous and it's exhausting to have. And by the way, the people who are posting the Steam charts and showing that Halo Infinite is beating Splitgate by a few thousand concurrent players a day, that's really not the flex you think it is. All right, I'm out. Goodbye, everyone. Sorry I got so heated in this video. I'm just frustrated by the level of discourse lately. Until next time, be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you. Also, let's go Rangers.